Hello everyone, my name is Andy and this is episode 3 of Building the Boss Board. As you can see, we have a whole slew of pedals to talk about here today, so let's get started. I've said it before and I'll say it again that Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, obviously things like Reverb.com are some of the most dangerous places on the internet. In this case, we've got Facebook Marketplace. I found this entire setup, so this is not the boss board in progress. That's not what we're looking at right here. I found this entire setup on Facebook Marketplace, and I drove about 2.5 hours to go get it, but it was worth it. And at some point, we'll definitely be explaining why. So what we're looking at from right to left, just because we're following the signal chain, we've got 6 Boss pedals on the board, and we've got 2 VOX pedals on the board. So we'll call this episode like the Boss VOX board, I guess. So this gentleman had, this was basically his practice rig. He had gigged with basically none of this gear except for that cute little pedal off to the left there, as you might be able to tell from how worn it looks. But anyway, this was his second rig, and now he's kind of moved down to one. He's semi-retired, obviously during this time, excuse me, with all that's going on. Nobody's really gigging, so I guess he opted to have the cash instead. So I was able to strike a deal with him and drove up to grab this and came back down. So it took my whole afternoon, but it was totally worth it. So from right to left, quite simply, we've got a VOX. This is a volume pedal. It's passive, so there's no power required for it. Pretty self-explanatory. Oh, there's a pick in my guitar. There we go. We'll just keep it unedited and raw and all that good stuff. So for volume swells, to cut off your signal, whatever. Currently plugged into a Gibson Firebird Tiki Bird from 2013 with Gibson 57 Classics. Next we have our CS3. This is the Compression Sustainer CS3 by Boss. This is one of those subtle effects that I've been really excited to explore a little bit more. Currently, the attack is set relatively high and the level's fairly high, so it acts as kind of a boost of sorts, which is pretty cool. So right now it's off. Okay, so let's see here. But the idea is otherwise to sustain better notes, I believe. Compress the sound, give it a little more character, things of that nature. So again, just dipping, well, last week I was dipping my toes in, now we're jumping, with a few pedals. Now we're diving straight in with all these pedals that I found. Next to that we have a Mega Distortion. Next to the DS1 I was thinking about finding something that was a little more high gain. I didn't need it to do metal necessarily, but definitely something that could punch a little better. I've got it a little bit dialed in, but I haven't really messed with it, but it's fairly chunky for what it is. Which is pretty cool. This actually has kind of a double knob, so I think you got general tone, you got kind of a low end boost or a bass boost, which actually that sounds really cool. Next up we have something that I've been pondering back and forth and wanting to learn more about, kind of next to the compressor sustainer, is the GE7 Equalizer. So for those of you that don't know, this is a 7-band EQ with a level slider as well. Each of these would have these little plastic guys on them, as you can see here. But at some point the gentleman took them all off because they were just kind of falling all over the place, so not a big deal. But the equalizer basically takes, for any of you that's seen like an old stereo, at mom and dad's house with the big old turntable on it, has a whole crap load of little sliders on it, or think of a mixing board. These are all the little frequency adjusters, so when I turn this on, I've got my mids boosted just a smidgen. So there's a lot of different ways to use that. This is supposedly kind of like a Swiss Army knife with all the different ways that you can tweak your sound. Especially after like a distortion. If you find it's too fizzy, you can take down high frequencies to roll it off a little bit if the pedal's not doing it well enough on its own. Things of that nature. Moving on from that, we've got the, I guess in the chain here anyway, we've got the CH1 Super Chorus, which is cool to have another one of those around. Nice and full. Level's pretty high right now. Make it a little crazier. Like my chorus a little smoother. Next up, we have the PS6 Harmonist. It was cool. It was really cool seeing this one on this board as well because, I mean, as a vocalist, I really like harmonies, but you know, other than typical chords and things like that, having a harmony or a dual kind of solo is pretty interesting when you have a unit or a pedal like this. I just tweaked knobs a little bit so you could hear a couple like polyphonic sounds. Have not mucked with much of any of this yet. This is all coming apart, but I just wanted to display it as, hey, here was my find for the week. Here's what I've been working on, achieving and, working on putting together for the boss board. I don't know if everything's going to go on it. We'll find out. But anyway, the Harmonist. Something pretty funky. So right now if I'm doing like a... So you got two, I think at least two pitches above there, but you can set the key, you can make it more detuned. It's seems to be very versatile. Again, I'm still learning here. Next to that, by VOX, going back to the VOXes, if I can get this sucker. Again, we're gonna go unedited embarrassing. We do have a wah pedal. Nothing too special. Seems to do what it needs to do. And then last but certainly the best, we've got the DM2 delay from Boss. Now this is one of those that's starting to get into more of that iconic realm of Boss stomp boxes. So what we're looking at here is an analog delay that puts out, I believe, up to 300 milliseconds of delay. And as you can see, this one has been well loved. I guess I could bring it closer in a moment here. Might be able to see this knob is now half the knob it used to be, as it were. But anyway, this is an iconic piece of Boss history, and it's really the reason that I decided to go and get all of this. I was very excited to put some of this stuff together, another distortion, a few ways to just tweak the general sound of the guitar, things of that nature. But this is what I was after, and that's what the gentleman said too, was that, yeah, what most people have said, hey, can I buy that separately? And he said no, he didn't want to part anything out. That being said, he did keep the tuner that was up here, but that's okay, because I have a tuner for the Boss board. But anyway, this delay is very iconic. It is no longer in production. What I don't know about this delay, or any of the other pedals really, is which label they are. There's a few different editions of a lot of these pedals, and I believe what I had read recently was that there's kind of 3 iterations or versions, or let's say releases, 3 releases of this particular pedal. But he said he's had it for about 30 years, which would put it in the 90s. Great. Even if it's the 3rd iteration, it's pretty cool for what I got it for. Just for the sake of transparency, again, this is my own money, no sponsors. This is my own journey that I want, to take you guys on. But I was able to talk him down and basically essentially paid about $50 per pedal, and that does include these as well. So anyway, getting some pretty darn iconic Boss tones from something that so many people lust after, so many people want. It's not like it's hundreds, especially not in this condition, but for $50, I'd say I got a pretty darn good deal, and I'm very excited to put this one on the board. So, hard to hear, but it's definitely still delaying in there. But yeah, pretty freaking cool. I'm very excited for that one. Again, that's even in its beat up, very gigged condition, which is unlike anything else on this board. This is by far the coolest piece of what I call the Boss VOX board that I obtained today in late November. 11/29 is the day that I got all this good stuff. So, and if you add a little drive to this, well, we can back that off a little bit, but something to the effect of, as far as I know, that's that. I don't know if it's the delay. I don't think it is, but that's, you know, your dotted eighth or kind of vibes. So anyway, I'm gonna shut up. Thank you for checking this out with me. Again, the thing I haven't done with any of these pedals yet is take them off this board. I got these just a little while ago today and couldn't wait to make the video. I'm going to release this probably at least a couple weeks after I've filmed it, but again, I'm just pretty excited to own this piece of history, just because it's something that's not common. Even if it's not the first iteration, even if it's not super pretty, hey, they're built like tanks, right? They're built to last. They're probably going to start releasing relic pedals, huh? That'd be interesting. Hi, would you like to spend 3 times as much to have it, the paint peeling? Probably not. But anyway, guys and gals, thank you for checking this out with me. This is Boss Board Week 3 with the Boss VOX board. Hopefully what I'm going to be able to do is determine what pedals I want to keep. I do have an extra volume pedal. I'm not super into wah, other than the Seek wah that you saw in the first episode. So I'll probably get rid of a couple of these kind of things and use that money to keep funding the Boss board. So anyway, thanks. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Or don't. Leave a funny comment. Leave a really funny comment. I like comments. Have a great day. Bye-bye.